What if there was a secret plugin that made your song sound louder without turning up the volume? Well, I'm here to tell you that it exists. Today I'm going to show you how I went from this to this. And we're still peaking at -3 dB. Let's take it up even further. My name's Tom. I've worked as an artist, producer and engineer for over 10 years. I make content for Sonnox demonstrating how you can create professional sounding records in your own space. Today, I'm going to show you how 2 plugins transform your sessions into competitively loud, streaming ready mixes. Let's jump in. So how did I get this track so loud? It's actually a very simple chain. I'm going to start by using a plugin called the Oxford Inflator on each group bus. A group bus just means splitting up your arrangement into sections, such as drums, bass, instrumentation, and so on. Then I'm going to apply the inflator and the Oxford limiter on the mix bus, which is all those groups going into one final bus. Let's start with the drums. You can see the inflator is a really simple plugin, but before I start explaining how it all works, I'm going to show you how it changes the sound. Already we've increased the loudness of the drums and it doesn't take long to use. Alright, let's break this thing down. We've got input, output, effect and curve faders and a few buttons to play with. But don't be fooled. Paul Frindle, the guy that wrote this program, I've read his algorithm breakdown and there's a lot going on underneath the hood. The key takeaway is it will increase loudness in a pleasing way without adding unwanted crunch. Let's really quickly break down what you can manipulate. Use the input fader to drive signal into the plugin and the output fader to compensate for loudness. Remember, we're trying to increase perceived loudness, not just turn the volume up. Effect sets the amount of character the inflator introduces, and curve modifies the processing characteristics and sonic effect of the inflator. We also have a few buttons. Clip 0 dB stops any signal above digital maximum from passing into the inflator, like an actual hard clipper. Band split breaks the signal into 3 frequency bands and processes each differently. And finally, the in button switches the inflator process in and out for comparison purposes. Although I prefer to click the preset hot swap button as this will reset the output fader to 0. Let's move on to our instruments and I'll explain how we can use this information to inform how we use the inflator. The first thing I always do is turn the effect fader to 100%. This is where Sonnox recommends you start, as this obtains the maximum increase in perceived volume without extra peak output level. Next, ride the input fader until you just start to hear the audio's character change. This is usually when the input signal starts to push over the 0 dB mark, indicating that we've run out of headroom and signal distortion has begun. At this point, you can back off the fader until the red peaks flash occasionally, or if you like it, keep the fader where it is, or even push it up further. Everything we do from now on, besides balancing the level at the end, is subjective. When I'm adjusting parameters within Inflator, I'm simply dialing in a sound I like. It's best not to think of the technical breakdowns of each fader or button. Think of them like flavors. Try out different combinations until you get a sound you like. After that, balance the output volume back to where you were peaking before Inflator and enjoy your new, louder track. Continue this process across all of your group buses and you should end up with something that's much louder. Let's move on to the mix bus. You can apply another instance of Inflator to see if we can squeeze any more loudness out of our tracks. At this point, it's about making small moves, as our mix will be on the edge of breakup and will distort if we push it too hard. Let's see what we can do. Finally, let's add the Oxford limiter. It has a great selection of presets to choose from if you prefer a starting point before tweaking. The interface contains all the parameters you would expect in a conventional limiter. Use threshold to determine when the limiter engages, or use the input fader to drive into the threshold. The attack fader determines how quickly the limiter kicks into gear, and release decides how fast it disengages. While the attack and release regulate the speed of the limiter, the soft knee controls how aggressive the sound is. Finally, we have a few buttons. These features are what really make limiters stand out in terms of performance, but it's also where the plugin gets more complex. I'll be shooting a video in the future where we dive deep into Limiter's unique feature set, as well as some digital audio theory and delivery standards. But for now, think of these buttons like more flavor options. To keep things simple, let's start with the auto gain and auto comp buttons on. Again, we can change these settings as we go. We can also see where we're peaking before the limiter is engaged and set this as our output trim. That way, we know if it sounds louder, it's because we've enhanced the mix rather than increased the volume. Let's see what sound we can get. And there you have it. 2 plugins that help your songs compete with the loudest mixers in music, and all without compromising on sound. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, give us a like or a comment. It helps our content reach more creatives like you. Don't forget to subscribe for new videos every week, and we'll see you in the next one.